Hey guys, in this video we're going to look at momentum, depth and power, and I'm going to concentrate on just showing you at the piano actually, just to strip away absolutely everything else and focus in on those core parameters, just to explain to you guys what they do and how you can use them. By the end of this video you'll absolutely get it, so you can then use our app in confidence and you'll understand what changes those three parameters make to all the music in our library. We're going to start by looking at momentum first of all. So with momentum, what we have to bear in mind is there's something known as a meter or pulse. You guys talk about BPM, and for the purposes of this thing, we're going to use this kind of pulse, right? So if I just kind of keep a beat of 4 or something like that, I'm going to play a really simple piece of music. We're just going to keep that pulse for 4, ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Momentum doesn't actually change the pulse, but if you bring in momentum, then we'll suddenly go from this. You can see my hand is sort of just kind of moving gently up and down just to keep that pulse in my system. So there's that pulse still, the 4, 2, 3, 4. But now bringing in momentum is literally bringing in more movement, because you can actually see my hands moving more. So it's essentially also kind of, increasing the complexity, because there are literally more things happening right now, twice as many to be exact. But we haven't changed the notes. We haven't changed this, the fundamental core piece of music that we're using just to make this example, right? It's still these 4. So that's one way that we can bring in this kind of a sense of pace, basically. It's now, heightened the anticipation a little bit. It's brought some, like I said, movement into it. So that, of course, also kind of drives the story along a bit more. It hints at development, narrative, in movement. I'm using that word again. So and in Filmstro we've even got one more setting, so that's one way of going up, and we could go all the way to the right of the slider and it might produce a result more like, because this is still the same pulse. Underneath here I've still got 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's talk about depth, and depth is beautiful because it's very, very visual, so this will make hopefully a lot of sense. Now on the piano we have a huge range from low all the way to high. Now the musical term for this is also register. So some instruments by default might be in fairly low register, okay? So they might play from, say, I don't know, here to here, and that would be considered quite a low instrument. Other instruments, of course, by contrast, might be as high as from here to here or something. So they have a very high register. Piano, of course, is fantastic because it has a huge register, or very wide range, should I say, which makes it ideal for composers. Anyway, playing it here in the middle as I did already, this kind of the core statement, if you like, of this musical motif, that's kind of mid-range, whereas if we then bring the depth in, it might kind of bring some of this stuff to bear. But maybe bringing the depth in would also bring it even more kind of like this, perhaps, so kind of quite low now. And that brings in, the warmth, the body. So I find this is also, in terms of a mood, this is also quite different now, isn't it? Very, very different piece of music, I think, in terms of the mood to, say, this. This immediately sounds actually much more wistful and more sad. But yeah, I don't know, it's hugely subjective as well, because of course with the right picture this could also be hopeful. Likewise with this speaks of an inner fortitude and strength, perhaps, because it's got those rounder tones, that slightly thicker, they are literally bigger waveforms as well. The oscillations are larger, so it's a bigger sound. It's hinting at something that's perhaps a little stronger. So that's basically depth then explained, which I think is pretty obvious, right? If you look at it like this. And then the last one is probably as obvious, power. There's two ways that power changes in Filmstro. One it's by virtue of how the musical instrument is played, so that's called articulation. So I'm playing this right now in a very gentle articulation, which results in a very soft sound, right? But if I allow more weight to drop into my hands, I can basically increase the intensity and just make that articulation stronger. So that's a very obvious thing. The other one I can't demonstrate for you here because I only have two hands, is the other way that Filmstro brings in more power is by making the ensemble larger. So I can't really do that here because it's only me playing. But if there were two people playing on two pianos, that would be another example. Then we would be doubling the size and the power therefore. So yeah, putting that all together then, the composer will add their own flair. So, they can do all sorts, and you can of course make the change here as well, by bringing in momentum, depth and power in different ways and varying that. You can then change the music from this very simple thing. You can bring it to something like, I don't know. But how it then changes, depending on how much momentum and depth and power you dial in, will change, of course, a little bit depending on what the genre is, what the style of the piece is, and what the composer chooses to do. So, that simple motif, I might change it with lots of momentum, depth and power. I might go something like, I don't know. But a different composer might do something, I don't know. And so it's still going to be something that you can explore, discover, and hopefully be surprised by, as well as finding it predictable, because that's the balance we're trying to strike here. Cool, right, hope that's useful, and happy editing.